You guys seem to absolutely adore my last video on 10 minutes of useless information about Knights of the Old Republic. Like, wow, look at these numbers. Likes, comments, views through the roof. This is what a YouTuber dreams of.
Beautiful.
And like I said in that video, there is so much I can cover with these kind of videos, and if you guys like them, I'm gonna make them. But obviously, we have to get the big daddies of Star Wars out of the way, and that is the two Knights of the Old Republic games. Go and watch the first video in this series before you watch this one though. Trust me, you won't regret it. But for those of you that are primed, ready, and sat with your popcorn, here is 10 minutes of really useless information about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 was Obsidian Entertainment's first game ever. Before Obsidian Entertainment were given the gig of Knights of the Old Republic 2, they were actually contacted to make an action role-playing game set in the Star Wars movie universe. This game was intended to be a first-person lightsaber game and included many characters from the movies. However, this idea was rejected, and BioWare then suggested that Obsidian should make Knights of the Old Republic 2 due to their familiarity with the engine and the good relationship they had with the developers. The Jedi Exile's canonical name is Mitra Surik. The name Atton Rand was actually the name of a protagonist in a completely different Star Wars game, and that was Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Jaden Korr was originally supposed to be Atton Rand, but then this was eventually changed, and then our Atton was given the name instead. To make this even funnier, there's actually an Easter egg in KOTOR 2 where Atton will tell the player that he was created at the last minute and to blame his agent because he was supposed to be in Jedi Knight. Jolee from the first game is utterly absent from KOTOR 2, but you can find a set of grey robes that belong to him in the game. A very suiting colour choice there, Mr. Bindo. The famous line, "Apathy is death," is quoted quite possibly more than any other from the game. It's synonymous with the character of Kreia, but the real Kreia actually never says this quote once. The quote is actually said by a vision of Kreia that's interpreted by the dark side in the tomb of Ludo Kresh, so she never actually says it. Atton Rand's nickname is Jack, but with a Q instead of a CK. Surprisingly, the lead writer of the game, Chris Avallone, wasn't actually a fan of Star Wars at this point in his life, and he was actually frustrated that the studio was going to be working on Star Wars. However, to ensure that he could write the best story he could, he didn't just watch the movies again, he actually delved into the entire expanded universe, playing through the first game, watching every single movie, reading almost every single expanded universe novel, all just so he could understand the universe that he was writing for. That's dedication, and that's why KOTOR 2 is one of the best. Darth Sion's name is taken from the word Sion, but with a C before the I, which actually means heir. Do you remember that Jedi corpse in the tomb of Ludo Kresh? Well, it's actually a piece of cut content, and this was supposed to be Dustil Onasi, the son of Karth Onasi from the first game, who would return to Korriban and completely lose his mind. Because of the time restraints, they didn't actually change the model, so it is still clearly Dustil, but they just changed the name to Neeblish. In the game, the Handmaiden will only travel with you if you are a male, and the Disciple will only travel with you if you are a female. However, in the canonical story, they both travel with the female Jedi Exile. Kreia and Visas Ma are technically blind, but the game gives you an option to see things from a first-person perspective. So what the hell do you see with two blind characters? Well, you see the galaxy through the Force. Go and check it out if you don't believe me. The design of Darth Nihilus' mask was inspired by the character No-Face from Spirited Away. Darth Nihilus doesn't actually die during the battle on the Ravager. Instead, his spirit just became trapped within his armour. Many encyclopedia entries and miniature models of Kreia actually have her wielding a double-bladed green lightsaber, but I'm pretty sure I remember that woman getting her hand chopped off at the beginning of the game. The name Atton Rand is a play on the word atonement, which is relevant to his thematics in the game. Hanhar was originally going to be able to be trained as a Dark Jedi. However, this was rejected by Lucasfilm, who claimed that George Lucas had stated that there were no more Wookiees who could be Jedi. And then a couple of years later in the Clone Wars, there was another Wookiee Jedi. Good old consistent George. The planet Alderaan was a planet that they originally wanted to put into the game, but they never got around to it. During the early stages of development, the writers didn't actually have access to the first game's story at all, which meant that KOTOR 2's original concepts were massively different to what was the eventual outcome. Some of these concepts were that the main character would be Revan again. Another concept was to have the Achani at the forefront of the story, saving their homeworld. But of course this was eventually changed to the story we know and love when Chris Avellone finally got his hands on Knights of the Old Republic 1. There is an entire missing planet from the game that was cut called M478. However, much like the restored content mod, there is actually an entire fan-made mod that brings this planet back into it. You can actually find many of M478's assets on Goto's yacht. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 was the 4th best-selling Star Wars game of all time on the original Xbox. However, sales were considerably lower than its predecessor. This could be attributed to the fact that Obsidian were pretty much an unknown developer at the time, and the original release of the game was extremely damaged. Right, sit back, Last Jedi haters, because I think a lot of you are going to enjoy this fact. The lead writer, Chris Avellone, did not like The Last Jedi. He explicitly stated that while he enjoyed some bits of it, he found Luke Skywalker's portrayal to be very weak and untruthful to the character. He also thought the comedy went too far and that the subplots were just too quickly introduced. He says while he liked what they were trying to do, he just didn't like how it was executed. If you beat the game enough times, you get a special dialogue option with the Handmaiden where you can ask her to recite some Achani poetry. She will do exactly that and give you an extremely beautiful piece about personal shields and melee weapons and how much she loves them.
Personal shields, I love you so.
If you beat the game enough times and play as a female exile, you get another Easter egg when you first meet Atton Rand in his cell. He'll take the mick out of the Phantom Menace by saying,
"Are you an angel?"
But after a moment of realization, he realizes that it's the worst thing that he's ever said, and that he hopes no kid ever uses that quote again. Poor Anakin.
That's the worst line I've ever used. Hope some poor kid doesn't start using it.
Lucasfilm refused to let Obsidian patch the game. The company actually wanted to put back all of the content in the game that they were forced to remove due to the time restraints. However, this was completely shot down because the Xbox version was unpatchable. Despite the Disciple only travelling with a female exile, his real name Mikal is never mentioned in a female playthrough. In fact, you'll only ever hear it during the male playthrough. Despite the game going a very long way to try and explicitly state that Darth Nihilus doesn't have a physical form, my guy actually has dreadlocks under that hood and he rocks them good. Hey, that rhymed. Anyway, this infuriates the lead designer of the game, who created the character with the express intent of him being literally nothing but a void with clothing. In a piece of cut content, the Jedi Exile could ask T3M4 whether or not he knew Mandalore. T3M4 would then show the Exile a hologram of Revan leaving Mandalore before the events of the game. Ironically, in much of the promotional material, Atris is often personified as the light side of the Force, much like Bastila was in the first game, while Nihilus is personified as the dark side. However, the actuality of that is Atris is completely corrupted. Despite everybody asking me this goddamn question, Visas Ma is not the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother of Darth Ma from the Old Republic. Please stop asking me. Atris is an anagram of Taris. Atris is also the dative plural of the Latin word Aeta, which I probably pronounced very, very wrong. However, this is translated to the word dark. The voice actress for the handmaiden, Grey Griffin, is actually the voice actress of Asajj Ventress, Padme, and Shakti from Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Zez Kayel is the only Jedi Master in the game who clearly expresses his regret for not being honest to the Exile. He is also the only Jedi Master in the game that actually questions the Jedi Order and their decisions. The Sith Temple that you invade on Duxon is the exact same temple that Exar Kun met the spirit of the Sith Lord Frieden Nard in, and then he began to fall to the dark side. Not many people know why you invade the Sith Temple on Duxon. You're expressly told that you need to do this to stop a ritual, however, it's never really quite clear what this ritual is for. However, do you remember that part of the game a little bit later where you're in the Onderon Palace and the giant lizard creature suddenly escapes the control of the Sith and attacks everyone? Well, there's your answer. In a piece of cut content, Atris was meant to become Darth Traya and would take up the mantle from Kreia. If you play as a male Jedi exile and you even think about talking to Visas Ma, the Handmaiden will become so extremely jealous of her and refuse to interact with you for the rest of the game. It's canon that Darth Sion has the hots for the Jedi exile. He literally died because he was in love with her. The Jedi exile has brown hair. I swear to God, a couple of weeks ago, I had a full-on argument with some moron in my comment section who was telling me that I'm an idiot because I didn't say that Mitra's hair was blonde and that I'm basically a fraud Star Wars YouTuber for giving you guys false information. Yeah, I get it, she would look better blonde, but the hair is canonically brown. Get over it. Oh yeah, and she has blue eyes. Visas Ma's voice is literally the best thing on Earth. Atris is officially the second biggest in Star Wars. Again, this is canon. So there we have it. That is 10 minutes of useless information about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, your mum, your grandma, your dog, anybody who might be interested. And don't forget to hit that like button so I know you want to see more videos like this. I could do these kind of videos for the movies, I could do it for other games, and I'd love to do so. So let's try and get this video rolling in the YouTube algorithm. Unlike every other one of my videos. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single thing from me. And if you are a user of the social media, come and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join the Discord server because I would love to have you there. All links are in the description below. And if you love my channel and want to support it a little bit further, perhaps consider taking a look at Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. Always.